And you wanted a close game. You wanted a good game. You wanted TCU to compete because that would have been a lot of fun. And you got the exact opposite of that from the jump. And that was, a go to bed at 31-7 type of game. And it was 38-7 at half. It even got worse.
But what I did is, I was watching the Knicks game simultaneously.
And that worked out great.
Well, here's the thing. There was a point in the Knicks game, and tell me if I'm wrong or if I'm right. I don't know. Knicks fans who watch it maybe a little bit closer than I do, probably would feel the same way this morning. You always wonder where in the game does the momentum really change. And all of a sudden, like the Knicks last night, this momentum changed, and they're playing a very good Bucks team. Of course, we all know that. And, they have to scrap and fight for everything. They got to play defense. They got to hit their shots, all the things that we always talk about when it comes to basketball. But there was a moment in this game at the end of the third quarter. I want to say there's about a minute 40 or so to go in the third quarter. The Knicks have the ball on offense. And this Isaiah Hartenstein kid has the ball. He's 7 foot tall. Mm-hmm. He is right at the rim.
Yeah.
He misses a layup, misses a tip, and then misses another layup, all within about 3 seconds. I mean, you're 7 foot tall. For God's sake, take the ball and jam it through the hole.
Right.
Because for whatever reason, he is I can't sit here and tell you that I've watched every single one of their games because I haven't. But the games that I have watched, there are times where he looks great, and then there are times where he's right next to the basket, and he cannot, for the life of himself, put the ball in the hoop.
That's why he's Isaiah Hartenstein, and he's not Giannis. You know what
I'm saying? But it's 6 inches away from the hoop, and he can't do it. So right after this little flurry at the basket, maybe this is why he's played on 3 different teams in the last 3 years, the Bucks go down, and I feel like the last couple of minutes of the third quarter, it's like they all of a sudden started ramping it up to get ready for the fourth quarter.
Yeah, I've got a theory on that.
Okay.
The theory is the Knicks now are that team, which is a credit to the Knicks, where the good teams are oh man, we got to play. It used to be last year when they were bad, and year before they were pretty good, and that was a strange year to begin with. But last year that team that the good teams didn't even need to show up for to beat. So the Bucks were all right, we don't really need to show up tonight to beat the Knicks. But then all of a sudden the Knicks are playing well, and they get out to a big lead, and then the Bucks were we got to play now. This sucks. We got to figure this out. Let's turn it on, and we'll roll right past them in the fourth quarter because we're that much better than they are, and that's exactly what happened. But still, the Knicks are overachieving in my eyes right now from what I expected, and hopefully they just continue to hang around and have a shot to give us a little bit of entertainment in the postseason.
I would agree. I would definitely agree about that. But I was just thinking, and specifically last night's game, that moment at the end of the third quarter, I was just I mean, come on, you got to dunk the ball. You got to do something. You're 7 foot tall.
Yeah, right.
I mean, trying to tip it and this and that and everything else, just grab it, slam it down, and then, pound your chest and yell. Do something.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure he's a nice kid, and I'm sure he's been a good player for them.
He's got a family.
He's got a family. And I don't know. I just felt like that was the moment. I'm like, come on, that's. And I don't know, maybe that's just the Knicks' growing pains. Who knows? They're not going anywhere. I mean, they should make the playoffs. They should. And like I said, they're a scrappy team, and I can appreciate that. And Obi Toppin didn't play much last night. He's back now, so hopefully he'll get back into the flow of things. And they'll be a better team overall. That's all you can really ask for. Hey, so by the way, I did figure out finally yesterday exactly what you, my friend, are doing.
What do you mean?
You know how I often talk about not touching the money around here?
Yeah.
And you got to be respectful of the game. You got to be respectful of the gods of the game. The whole thing. Just show your respect to the team that you're playing, and don't ever jump out in front of the game. Don't ever guarantee anything. There's only so many Mark Messiers and Joe Namaths walking around out there, and there are very few of those guys.
Yeah.
And and I hate when fans are all over my team's winning this, touching the money. That's what that's called.
Oh, but hold on a second.
Hold on. I'm not done yet.
Okay.
I figured out that you're doing the reverse of that.
No.
Yesterday,
wrong.
You were doing the reverse of that.
Wrong.
And you were trying.
Wrong.
Yeah.
Wrong.
No, you're saying your team's losing, so that's
wrong.
the reverse
it's
of my
not
team's
the
winning.
reverse. I'm telling you, it's what I believe. I don't know how many times. There was a bunch of Giant fans yesterday. They were texting me, friends of mine. Of course, I got a million Giant fan friends just like you do. And they're all saying, stop doing the reverse psychology. You're doing the reverse psychology. This is what you're trying to do. That's not what I'm trying to do.
I think that is what you're trying to do.
I'm telling you, trust me, and you know me. This is the 6th year that we're starting to do this show. You sat next to me through Kirk Cousins, through Case Keenum, through everything else, through Mike Zimmer, through all the losses. I've gone through everything.
And all the wins. I mean, there's a lot of wins.
There's been wins, and I've explained to you everything.
You've had some of the most remarkable wins in the last 10 years of the NFL. I could sit here and make an argument that the Minnesota Vikings have had 3 of the most improbable, incredible comeback wins that we have ever seen in the history of the NFL.
Right, which is nice, but when you're a team who in recent memory has not got to the Super Bowl and then has in the long history of the organization never won one, when you see those things and it doesn't result in a championship, it gets a little tired after a while because you've seen everything else. I've seen everything else. Now I need to see them actually get to a Super Bowl and win it. But no, I'm not doing reverse psychology. I told you that the world of the Minnesota Vikings revolves around me. And this is the only way the story can end. And that's what I believe, that it is my destiny. I'm not trying to do reverse psychology. If I believed that they were going to win, I'd sit here and tell you, I think they're going to win. I told you 3 weeks ago, before this was even a matchup, that the Vikings and the Giants were going to meet in the playoffs, and the Giants were going to beat the Vikings, and I would have to go on a sabbatical because I wouldn't be able to deal with it.
Okay, so
that
now,
was 3 weeks ago.
I know that. I know you've been all over this. I'm not saying that you haven't been, but I think we all can feel exactly what you're doing, how you're doing it, and if you come in here next Monday and the Vikings have won the game, like, what will you say? Will you minimize the fact that they won, or Daniel Jones threw an interception, or this what happened here and that's what happened there? And well,
it depends what happened to the game, but I'd be very surprised, and I'd say what a disappointing morning for Giants fans having blown this opportunity. I mean, that's to me what I think the take is going to be, because they should win this game. They should, the Giants, and I believe that they will. So it's not reverse psychology. I'm not trying to do the reverse double whammy. I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. I don't have that type of power. When it comes to this team, I know how it's going to go. It always goes the way that you don't want it to go for them in the biggest moments. Okay. And for me, now we're in the playoffs, and it's the Giants, and sat right here in this chair and talked about in the beginning of the year, here's another example. I remember Al started a warm-up show week 1 after the Giants beat the Titans, and he goes, Gio's Giants rant, ill-timed, because I trashed the hell out of them on that Friday going into that game, telling them they're going to be awful, they're going to get killed, Derrick Henry, even off an injury, is going to run for 300 yards against them, and this team will be lucky to get to 4 wins. And what happened? They beat the Titans. So this is just another example of that. The ultimate example of that, where there is going to be egg on my face. The ultimate example of egg on my face happens this weekend because Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, who I said get rid of all offseason, don't bring them back. Dave Gettleman stink. Get him out of the building. Have come back, and each of them have most likely earned a contract extension from the Giants. And those guys will go into that building and beat my team because that's the way it will work. To ruin my life. That's what will happen. It is written in stone. You're going to Philadelphia. I'm telling you right now. Just watch. Just watch. It'll happen. Just like Gary Anderson never missed a field goal. In the history of the NFL, there was never a guy who went through to that point, who went through a regular season, who didn't miss a field goal. And then to hit a 38-yard field goal to send the team to the Super Bowl for the first time since the frickin' 70s, he misses it! At home! They were 15-1! He missed the field goal! I mean, it always happens. Brett Favre had the best regular season touchdowns to interceptions he'd ever had in his life with the Minnesota Vikings in the 2009 season. And what does he do in the most critical moment of the game in the NFC Championship game against the Saints? throws the worst interception you could possibly imagine.
Well, that was Bounty Gate game.
Okay, he still threw the pick.
I know, but that was Bounty Gate game. They were going after him. They were trying to hurt him.
Oh, my God.
That's why Sean Payton, the guy that's going to be getting $20 million a year, got basically suspended and lost $7 million that year.
2000, one of the great Giant fan memories. 2000 NFC Championship game. The Vikings were 11-2 going into the last 3 games of the season. They lost the last 3 games of the season to finish 11-5, thus allowing the Giants to leapfrog them to get to the 1 seed and then host the NFC Championship game where they beat them 41-0. So is this reverse psychology, or is this me telling you the way it's going to go? This will happen, and it will happen in the most dramatic, horrible, gut-wrenching way that you could possibly draw up. You can't even imagine how bad of a loss this is going to be for the Vikings. Right now, as we sit here, you could get the person who wrote Coco, the Disney movie, in here, and he couldn't be creative enough to come up with how the Vikings are going to lose this game. And they will make me believe that they have won it. They will do that. And then they will rip it away. And I will be in here on Monday morning going, told you so.
All right, so I say reverse psychology. That's what we're getting here.
Oh, my God.
That's what I see. That's what I'm feeling. I know what you're doing. You're just going all in. You're going all in.
I'm telling you, if I was doing that, I wish I was doing that. I wish I was doing that. I wish I had the belief to do that. I don't have the belief.
You're an incredible.
I don't.
You're an incredible performer. You're doing a good job.
No.
I appreciate it.
It has nothing to do with it. If I were performing, the performance would be me believing in the Vikings.
All right, so let me ask you a question.
That would be the performance.
Let's say the Vikings do win.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, are you going to come in here and be happy on Monday morning, or are you just going to be like, oh, there we go. Now the next game, we're going to lose the next game.
I'll tell you.
Like, geez.
No, I'll tell you.
I've never seen anything like it.
You asked me the question. I'll tell you.
Okay.
If they which they won't, if they somehow win the game, I will be relieved, because now this won't be another reference point for Giants fans to crap all over me for the rest of my life. So I'll be relieved of that, but it won't happen. But that's what this will be, is remember that year that you trashed the Giants and they went and beat your Vikings when they won 13 games? Remember that? That from now until the day I die, that will be a thing that I hear because I live here. So I will be relieved, but then I will also say, well, of course, they're going to go into San Francisco and lose.
I don't know how you process all this stuff, but I go back to 2007, and my partner then, Spank, I had to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge in a Speedo because he, basically kind of trashed the Giants going into that playoffs run. And I said that they were going to win in Dallas, I believe it was. They won in Dallas. So he then lost the bet and had to walk across the Brooklyn Bridge in the Speedo, and then ended up with the hemorrhoids and the hemorrhoidectomy and everything else, which was very difficult on him. And it was very difficult on people who would travel with him. And he just couldn't poop, it was really hurt a lot. So my point is that he got over it. He ripped the Giant fan and everything, ripped the Giants, ripped Eli Manning, ripped Tom Coughlin, was ripping everybody. And the Giants, lo and behold, went on to win a Super Bowl, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So, he was able to get over it. I think you will be able to get over it if, in fact, the Giants do win.
No. You don't understand. I'll be able to get over it. I'll be able to move on from my life, but it becomes a thing. It becomes a reference point. It becomes a thing. So, and especially when it just happens. Then I'm going to have to live with that for the rest of the week, and I'm just going to I would try to turn the page as quickly as possible and go right to the Eagle game. But, this is the way it's going to go. I'm already resigned to the fact that Sunday, and all right, so you think that, I will show you text messages. You think I'm performing because I've got the microphone in front of me. I will show you text messages from last night from me to the head flunky, who's the guy who made me a Minnesota Vikings fan. All right? Last night, I said, it's going to be hell Sunday, pure torture. Good night. That's the last thing I wrote to him. All right?
Okay.
Because I sent him the segment of me and you talking about this. And he goes, I hope you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. I said, nope, I'm not wrong. It's going to be pure hell. So am I performing in my private text messages, or do I believe it? I believe it. I believe it to be. And it will happen. It will. You'll see. I can't wait to come in here and you sitting in that makeup chair and I go talk to you. Good morning, boom.
Hey, G, what's happening?
And then you turn to me and you say, man, you were right. I should have never doubted you. You were right on top of this. That is what I can't wait for. All right,
it's just the weirdest take by a fan. You know, it's just a weird take.
Oh, wait a second. Weird take. We had 2 Vikings fans who were 60 years old who called up yesterday and said, you are 100% right about what's going to happen because I've lived it too. And not only have I lived it too, I've lived it longer than you have.
So who has it worse, you or the Jet fan?
The Jet fan.
All right, okay. Just want to make sure we know, like, in terms of.
Well, wait, hold on. Wait.
Like, hold on. The Jet fan,
the Jet fan who is my age has it worse. The Jet fan who is Joe Beningo's age does not. Because Joe Beningo saw a Super Bowl at 15 years old. And that's one thing that he never brings up, ever. It's woe is me. I can't believe it. And then he'll go, I got to get another one. No, you don't. You sold your soul for Super Bowl III. That was it. You ain't getting another one. That was the football gods coming down and saying, here's your one. Here's the miracle. That's it. And you're not getting another one. And he saw it in his prime at 15 years old. I was 16 when the Vikings lost that NFC Championship game to the Falcons in '98. If they would have won the Super Bowl that year, I wouldn't be like this.
Yeah, you're scarred.
I wouldn't sit here and tell you that they're going to lose every goddamn game that they play. But they did it to me. There's a guy who calls Sal up on the overnight. It's this obnoxious Giants fan who says they're going to go win the Super Bowl. And I don't blame him for thinking that. Why? Because they've won 4 of them, and 2 of them were the most improbable victories in the history of the NFL. So tell me again, is it me or is it them? It's them. They did it to me. Just like the Giants have made the Giant fan hopeful, the Vikings have made the Vikings fan pessimistic. That's what it is. Boomer and Gio on the Fan and CBS Sports Network.